No, I don't know how to fix that. Yeah. Just close out of everything.
Okay, you're all set.
Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Foster?
Here.
Mayor Newhart?
Here?
Trustee Calora?
Here.
Trustee McKnight?
Here.
Stephen Gaba, Trustee Baricini, and Mike Mosier are absent.
Okay. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of September 5th, 2023?
So moved. Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to accept the following reports: August 2023, the Clerk's Office, Tax Collection, Justice Department, and Building Department, including the July 2023 Complaint Report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And authorization to pay all approved and audited claims in the amount of $110,737.31 once they are signed by 3 of our trustees.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Chief Rader is not here today. Under correspondence, we have a report from Village Attorney Stephen Gaba regarding the special use permit application for 43 Wheeler Avenue, as well as a report from the village engineer David Getz regarding the special use permit application for 8 Forester Avenue. And public comment. Is anybody here who'd like to speak to the board? This is on agenda items only.
Well, I'm from 43 Wheeler, but I've never been to one of these before, so I'm not sure. I'm assuming this meeting is to get the special use permit to allow residential instead of what it's zoned as central business. Is that correct?
Well, that is not yet on the agenda. What happened, there was a bit of a, so as you know, the planning board secretary retired, and we are unraveling a few knots of what was left, not because of her, but because the procedure may have been done not in sequence. And so one of the things that happened was because it's a commercial application, it is mandatory that it goes before the ARB.
It did go before the RB though. I got a report back from them.
That might have seemed like it was a report from the ARB, but the ARB never met. There were never minutes. It was done on the phone, and that's completely against our open meetings law.
But is that my issue? It is?
That's something we're trying to correct right now.
Okay.
So
'Cause I thought-
I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but that's how, sadly, it was done, and it was incorrect.
Because I have an email from the ARB. I know there might have been a phone call, but I definitely have it in writing from the ARB, which you have as well, or in an email, so, but I guess they don't accept emails either?
No,
Okay.
no. And that is, state municipal law on open meetings, so.
And it has to go through the ARB because it's in the historical district?
No, because it's a commercial application.
Okay.
Any commercial application anywhere in the village has to go through that. So I don't believe it is in the
So if
historic district.
if there's a special use permit, then it has to refer to the ARB. But I'm looking at the code right now, trying to unravel this. Steve Gaba laid out the details. I'm also looking at the code. 145-161 application procedure. And before the village board shall give consideration to a review of the application for such special use permit, the village planning board shall refer it to the Architectural Historic Review Board. And that board shall review the site plan development application in light of the general considerations and specific standards provided herein for special use permits. Thereafter, Architectural Historic Review Board shall transmit its recommendations to the village planning board and the village board within 30 days. So and I wish Steve were here, right? Because it doesn't say anything about, as far as I'm reading it, that they have to meet, that they just have to review it. So if they did it asynchronously, and those, those emails are
It's, n-
It's a bigger
foilable.
picture.
but the review that they're, I mean, that's a matter of interpretation, but a review is not a series of emails. A review is an actual review in a meeting with minutes, and there's a letter then that should go to Mr. Corcoran with the findings and to the
I
planning
did get
board.
that letter.
Right.
I don't know about their procedures, but I
Right.
did get the letter from the ARB saying that they reviewed it. And they had a comment about shutters, but no big deal. But that was their only review. They said they reviewed it. And I have that letter. Raina actually has that letter.
It's on our website too.
Yeah.
I am looking at it, and 3 members, they did review, it says they reviews, the following members of ARB have reviewed the proposed 3-family dwelling on 43 Wheeler Ave, Jane Glasman, Michael Bertolini, and Matthew Lopinto, submitted to them on July 26, 2023. Mr. DeHaan and Mr. Ryan did not respond with comments. After reviewing the application, the ARB has no objection or proposed changes to the application, though shutters were discussed. So it seems,
I would rather, I refer to the open meetings law. I mean, that, to me, is the spirit of what we do here, and that transparency. And I think that this has been something that has occurred before, and it's something that has to stop.
Does it have to stop at a cost to me?
Well,
Or is this an internal
think it's just the
issue
timing.
with the village and the architectural review board? Because it just sounds to me like it's internal, and I shouldn't have to suffer consequences. But whatever the procedure is, the procedure is.
well, I wish
I thought I
our,
went through the procedure by submitting it to them and getting a reply from them. Like 3 out of 5, it sounds like there's 5 members of it and 3 out of 5 responded. To me, that sounds like majority vote, but
well, it surely could be, but at the same time, emails do not equate to determinations. Open meetings law have said that over and over. It's clear. You can't call people on the phone and say, well, what do you think of that? If someone's missing from a board meeting, any board meeting, they can't write in their decision.
I understand that, and I get what you're saying, but it wasn't, they got a copy of the drawings, they responded with a letter. Yes, well, everything is done via email these days, like it's not carrier pigeon anymore, like it's email, that's the way things are done, from what I believe. But I could be wrong, but any of the meetings I was at here was majority vote, and 3 out of 5 voted, even though 2 were missing. I believe there's somebody missing today, so are we going to forego this meeting because there's somebody missing?
No,
Or-
we have a majority, we have a quorum here.
We have a majority, but I think the ARB had majority too.
No, they did, but it was on email, and that's
It's not
not,
documented, like in.
But the letter that they
minutes.
gave to me was documented.
well, that was their mistake.
Again, I have to pay for these mistakes. Okay, no problem, go ahead.
I apologize for that.
Yeah,
I mean, had we known, it would have stopped there.
Well, it was a couple of months, when that letter is dated, I think, back in April or something like that, but it's months ago since,
Right.
you know. And since then, I've paid upwards of $5,000 to village attorneys, village engineers, and everybody else from the village to review all this. And this is the first time it's coming up. If I had to know about this, I would have been prepared for it, because, you know, it just seems like, honestly, it seems like splitting hairs at this stage, but okay, no problem. If that's your decision, that's your decision. I personally don't agree with it, but I guess I don't have to, so.
Okay.
Is this something that, by the way, so because this wasn't done, or wasn't done correctly, let's say, is this something you guys vote on to pass, or is this something that just, that's it, has to be done?
And here again, I wish our council was here to give us that
Yeah, so I guess what I'm hearing is that there needs to be an official vote, not email correspondence. So approval and email from late July, I guess you said it's a matter of interpretation, it's not a vote with members, public, with a quorum.
Right.
So is that invalid, or is this more of a formal kind of,
They need to go
Procedure.
before, the ARB just needs to meet and have the meeting.
Right.
In person.
so when could that?
That can
'Cause I
happen.
feel like we are kind of
Well, we are, but you know
checking this out a
what?
bit, yeah.
Should we continue it like this? Should we, this is how we're gonna move forward?
We're setting the tone, moving forward.
What do you mean?
Before we replace, before we fill that position, to make sure everything is done the way it's supposed to be done.
They can meet on a dime. I mean, obviously, they meet quite often, and there's no reason why they can't meet, so. Sadly, the planning board did not send it to the ARB as they should have. And so now it's up to our board to do that.
Hence why there's a motion to,
That's right. And Mr. Corcoran, I am sorry that you are caught in the
stuck in the
crosshairs
middle
of
of
this.
it, yeah.
But we're just trying to, there's been a lot of unscrambling, that we've had to do in terms of the many applications that are out there. And so be it, but this is,
Yeah, and I agree and I understand and I get it. But it sounds like the inadequacies of the board of the village is falling on me.
well, it's, you might want to think that, but I don't believe that that's true.
Okay. Well,
So.
it's obviously an issue now, which, I don't know, whatever, it's not.
I mean, to go to the,
No point beating around the
to
bush.
go to the ARB, there will not be any more legal costs or engineering costs.
Okay, so is this something that,
Formality.
can we go to the ARB and get their decision? Will that affect what we're doing here today?
This is the motion that's on the agenda is to refer that application to the ARB, so it's to have the ARB actually, my understanding is that the ARB has to meet, and assuming that they all still agree with the votes that they completed via email, they would just do that in a meeting where the public is allowed to be present. So what the mayor is referring to is the importance of adhering to the open meetings law and making sure that those votes and those discussions are happening in a way that members of the public can view. So nothing's preventing the ARB from meeting tomorrow or whenever.
Well,
So we
there
have
has to be
that-
notice, but
There has to be notice,
So-
but there has to be.
our next meeting is October 2nd, and hopefully that meeting will have happened, and we'll have a report from them.
I believe there's a copy of open meeting laws there, right?
Those are just our rules of meeting.
Oh, okay, right, never mind.
And Raina, could I, maybe after, or whenever I can come in tomorrow, but can I get the actual process for this? Because I didn't see that in the code anywhere. I'm assuming it's in the code, that's what
It
we
is.
go by.
Yes.
So if I could get that off you, please, because,
Sure, sure.
you know,
It's actually in the site plan approval. I can just email you the link.
right.
Okay. Bo, did you have something?
Yeah, I guess I'm in the same boat. I'm assuming I need to go to the ARB as well. I mean, it was done when Maureen was here. I think the planning board at the time said everything was okay, but I don't believe I officially went in myself with a plan to the ARB and received anything. I can't recall if I received the letter or not. I could look into that, but it's probably an email as well. If I recall, Maureen was just saying that the ARB accepted the plans and the renderings, and we were good to go.
The planning board has yesterday on their agenda that they were doing the final site plan. Oh, that's
That's right.
Wheeler,
That's right, that's correct.
but not Forrester.
No, oh, yeah.
I mean, I think
So
we
as
really need a
for the-
legal interpretation of this, because there's two simultaneous cases, right?
Mhm.
That follow the same path.
Mhm.
I'm all about the open meeting law, the transparency, the quorum, the board vote. Doesn't necessarily say that in the code, that's just from what I've just read out loud earlier. But there could be something beyond that in the charter of the AHRB that says that must happen. I don't have that in front of me, so I'd love to get Steve's.
When you refer something to a committee, a a village committee, formed committee, that in my mind is a formal, just a formality of how it has to happen. And
So offline reviews wouldn't constitute, okay?
no, because how could that exist in the public realm?
Do we need a clerk and an attorney and an engineer at these
No,
AHRB meetings?
we'll have minutes.
Minutes from one of the members.
We'll probably have one of, probably either Raina or Jen.
Okay. So cost to the village, then I would request that if we do have to do the, refer to a proper AHRB meeting, that we do them at the same time, instead of spreading these things out. From what I'm hearing from Bo and Patrick, they're in the same boat.
Yep.
Which I didn't know until just now. I had no idea.
That you
And again,
received an
what-
email, you received an email approval
I went
that,
to,
and
I don't
it-
recall honestly, Carly, but I do know at the planning board meeting I was at, when they referred us to this board, that we were told that the ARB or AHRB was okay with the plans and the design, and that's good enough for me. I don't know, again, it's a process issue, something we've talked about at the comprehensive plan.
Right.
And there's definitely a cog in the wheel at the moment.
We realize that,
I understand
too.
the transition with Maureen is making it more difficult, but I submitted for this board on August 9th, I believe, and here we are, I think, was it the 15th, 14th? And I've not really even been on the agenda to discuss the project.
And
which is-
part of the problem is we have not received the response from our,
Understood.
our
but
council,
Again, a
yeah.
whole month goes by,
Right.
and even more so, because now we're looking at the October 2nd meeting, hopefully, and then shortly thereafter is the planning board, so if we don't have a decision from this board by the 2nd, then I'm pushing into almost November, so I'm just,
I understand.
we're obviously.
So
similar.
what I believe, Bo, is that, as you're referring, Tom, that we could make a motion to refer your project to the ARB as well.
All right, I would appreciate that.
and just do them both.
And do
at-
them
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
At the
hopefully
same
we
time.
come back on the
Yep.
2nd, and hopefully Mr. Gaba has reviewed the
Right.
documents, being that, again, he's always been very diligent, but we're going on
So, Bo, you're going for a special use permit?
special use, yeah.
Then same rules, yes, then the same rules apply, you'd have to, so then, good point, right, we should make that motion today instead of waiting a month,
Yeah, that's exactly.
or several
Yeah.
weeks,
That's the least we could do.
and then you find out that you have to,
Is there any chance you could make the motion to accept the email, seeing as this is all happening in the middle of applications?
Yeah,
No?
Because of the open meet,
Yeah,
that would be contrary to the open meetings law. I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Kokorian, but that's
No problem.
kind of the golden rule. Okay. Any other comments? So we will make
No,
it,
we appreciate the motion.
yeah, we'll make the
and,
motion to include,
okay.
what's the address?
8-4,
Eight
so
four.
Forester.
Okay.
yeah, it's, and Dave Getz had sent a
Yes.
report on it.
And I know Dave has reviewed it, so.
He has,
I don't
yeah.
wanna push Mr. Gaba, but if you folks.
Well, we push him too,
kindly
you know,
ask him
we
to review our projects and keep
he's
moving
a
along.
busy lawyer, so.
We are currently vacant. So, you don't need me for anything else, right?
No,
Thank you,
thank you,
folks. Appreciate
thank you,
it.
appreciate it.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Bo.
You'll receive notification of what we,
Perfect. And
Acted on.
we'll submit anyway to the ARB. To Raina?
Yes.
yes,
Okay. Thank
Great.
you very much.
very good, thank you.
Bye.
See you.
So we're going to move on to motions, and the first motion, Tom, would you take that, please?
is it a motion or a resolution?
It's a resolution.
Okay. A resolution amending schedule of fees to change certain water fees. Whereas Village of Warwick Code 64-1 provides that a comprehensive schedule of fees, including water system operations, be approved by the village board. And whereas, in order to amend the village's schedule of fees to change the water fees, it is necessary for the village board to adopt the resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the village's schedule of fees is hereby amended as follows. In the schedule of fees under the heading Water, the following fees shall be added. Category, water, no subcategory, type of fee, meter data download, amount $150, code is blank.
Okay, do I have a second?
That's a roll call, right?
Yeah, second.
Oh,
Let's have a discussion if we could.
Yes, surely.
So how did this come about?
There have been requests for meter downloads, and it's something that's time consuming, and it uses our water department. People want,
Why do people want the meter download? So they'll get a water bill
yes,
quarterly,
right.
and usage is on that water bill. So what am I missing? What is the use case for?
Maybe they want to see trends, data trends, and they don't want to piece together, so they want to see how the usage has changed over time.
Oh, so
like detect any leaks or issues or anything.
May I? Because I see this.
please, yeah.
So basically what happens is that when someone thinks that there is an issue with their meter, we always ask them to, contact their plumber. If they say I have higher than normal usage, especially if they've been upgraded to an iPearl already, so they have the latest meter. People will then say, what before or after, at some point with their plumber, they'll say, we don't think that this has been a problem, or we can't find any leaks, and so Chris will do a data download. He'll be able to download the information, which actually I think shows, I've never seen one of the reports, but I think it shows actually like daily usage, like more detailed usage than just the 3-month period that we see at the 4th month.
I see.
Do you know what I mean? And that-
Right, so they have to go out to the meter itself to get a wireless download.
I'm not sure, I believe they do, I'm not sure about that part, but whatever Chris has to do on his end to be able to download the information. But that's what it would be used for, that's the only use I understand it for, but I don't know.
So the only reason people would reach out, presumably if they felt there was a problem. So is this an edge case, or how often does this happen?
I think it happens a few times a year. I wasn't part of the discussion of how this came about this time through Barry, so I'm not sure, other than his email detailing how he came up with that amount.
If someone thinks they have a leak and there's a problem, and they call the water department, we should collaborate with them. I feel like imposing an extra $150 fee on top of that is not conducive to figuring out what the problem is, because we are providing a service to customers. For that reason, I'm not in favor of adding another fee on top, especially if really the only reason for it is because of a suspected problem, and it only happens a few times a year. So I'm personally not in favor of this.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Tom on that, because I think as a resident, I would want to be able to access data readily. It seems like,
to pay.
yeah, it seems like it should be available, right? Like, if you call O&R and you want more detail about how your power,
If you look into the future, ideally in the future, we have the newer meters have the technology that once we have, several transmitters up high somewhere in buildings, we can remotely get that data. There's a large cost to that. It'll probably take years, and we're just not at that point. So I understand the idea of defraying costs from Chris or someone going out to the meter, but what sticks for me is that if that is triggered by suspecting a problem with the connection, it's that it comes off as adding insult to injury.
yeah, I think also if we charge for that, it's sort of disincentivizing people to look into their own data. Like, it looks like it's a penalty for asking those
Right.
questions.
And then if there is a leak, then they come back and ask for reimbursements and all this stuff. But if it only happens a couple times a year, I don't see the issue. If it's something where people for fun are just requesting this all the time,
Yeah.
maybe we bring that back up. But to amend the schedule of fees for truly an edge case driven by suspected problems with the connection from our service.
Can we wait till Barry's here to give us more information? I thought there was an email from him, right?
Mhm.
Isn't there?
Here, but
Okay.
it's not much, it doesn't explain why it's coming, it just explains how
Okay,
the fee
yeah.
schedule was.
Well,
Yeah.
Why don't we vote on this, and then put it under discussions for the next meeting, so that he'll be here and he can
If
describe.
it needs to be brought back up, it could be brought back up.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Okay, so we have a second. and it's a roll call vote, so.
Trustee Foster?
No.
Trustee McKnight?
No.
Trustee Flora?
No.
Mayor Newhart?
No.
Or Mary.
My nose.
Maybe.
Am I done? We're done now.
Right, yes,
Yeah, you can-
yes.
You can have to stay for the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry,
McCoy.
just before I go, is there anything else other than the architectural review board that I need for
Well-
the next meeting? Or is that it?
Well, then you have to, it comes back to this board.
Yes.
We then put a date for a public hearing, and that's when we determine the special use permit.
Can I schedule a public hearing?
Not yet.
So we have to have another meeting here after.
ARB first,
Yeah,
then the village
Back to
board
the
meeting,
village.
and we schedule the public hearing at that point. It's the
okay.
procedure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carly?
Resolution authorizing vacation carryover. Be it resolved that on a one-time only basis and notwithstanding any policy to the contrary, Sadie Becker shall be eligible to carry over up to 10 unused vacation leave days accrued on November 30th, 2022 into the following calendar year, i.e. November 30th, 2023 to November 29th, 2024 for use in such a year. This is being offered on a one-time only non-precedent setting basis and shall not apply to be continued in any other years. Any unused vacation leave days carried into the following calendar year pursuant to this resolution must be used in such calendar year and shall not be permitted to be further carried over into another year.
Second.
Okay. So this resolution was put together by our Labor Council specifically, as was a similar resolution for Mr. Finelli, that was based on the collective bargaining contract. Okay. So we have a
And
second.
these two are extenuating circumstances, which is the reason why we needed Labor Council to set the non-precedenting.
Exactly,
Yes.
Tom, yes. Okay, that's a roll call.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes. And I'll just bring this up, that Tom and I had a discussion, and it was about pregnancy leave and how potentially we should look at that more carefully, more closely, and see if that needs to be reviewed and potentially expanded, or, you know, that we have to take a fresh look at it, yeah. I'm sorry.
And when the whole board is here, I think that should be a discussion topic.
Yes, okay.
Motion to grant permission to the Warwick Valley Central School District to hold a homecoming parade on Saturday, October 7th, 2023, beginning at approximately 11:15 a.m. as per their letter dated September 6th, 2023. Proper insurance is on file. The Warwick Police Department will assist with the event.
Second discussion, please. So just a heads up, that's the same day as the library's Children's Book Festival in Stanley Deming Park. However, the parade comes from West Street down to Main Street, curls north around TD Bank, down Wheeler, and then back to the West Street, the bus garage over there.
Right, right.
So it doesn't go right by Stanley Deming.
Right.
But parking will be at a premium. We'll have a lot of people in the village that day, and that's great, but just a heads up
Yeah.
that these two events are happening simultaneously.
Right.
Should we consider putting signage to point people to parking in Veterans Memorial Park? Additional parking?
Well, for the library, I believe like we did last year, we're gonna have parking in the lawn at Stanley Deming
And-
to accommodate that.
And Park Avenue.
In Park Avenue, right. So hopefully that should be able to encapsulate that whole part of the traffic. Now, as far as the homecoming parade, I don't know what to expect in terms of parking needs for that time, but.
I don't think people stay long, right?
No, it's not that long of an event. I think that's the beauty of it, that it comes and goes. It's probably an hour of,
Got it.
you know, there's a lot of, setting up of people with lawn chairs and such along Main Street. But again, it's, I would say, an hour, hour and a half tops, and it disperses very quickly once it's out of here. So,
Okay. So that was more just informational, two
Yeah.
things happening at once.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
It's that
Thank
time
you,
of
Tom.
year.
And though, we have gotten at least one concern from one of the merchants who had frustration with parking for that event and for their staff in particular. So I think, again,
For which event?
for the homecoming event. So I think we just have to give that business, all our businesses, maybe through the chamber, the heads up as to, this is happening, and please be aware of that. If your staff needs to come in earlier or whatever, make accommodation.
These are the other places you can park.
You're right.
Well, the parade calendar was updated on our website for sure, and the link was with the homecoming parade, and it was emailed to the chamber. We've been doing that now with every parade, so
Yeah.
they've had it now
Oh,
for
that's
about a
good.
week.
Yeah.
Right. Does the correspondence include a suggestion that they email their merchants?
Yes, it's
Okay,
asked them to
okay.
please share it with everyone.
Okay, great.
Great. So
I think we have
did we had a
No, we
second?
have
No?
a
Second. Second.
We had a
We have a
second, so
discussion.
all in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to the Warwick Valley Community Center to hold the following activities in Stanley Deming Park on the east side of the creek as per their letter dated August 24th, 2023. Applefest Community Center event with inflatable games and obstacle courses on Applefest Sunday, October 1st, 2023, and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., including pony rides by Winslow Therapeutic Riding Center, with setup to begin on Saturday, October 1st, 2023 at 5 a.m., and breakdown to be completed by 6 p.m., October 1st, 2023 for all activities. Completed park permit and security deposit have been received. Approval is contingent upon the Village of Warwick's insurance carrier's confirmation that proper insurance is in place.
Second.
Just a quick
Yes?
discussion. So I'm looking at page 5 of the application. Rides, mechanical carnival rides, bounce house, inflatable slide, etc. It sounds like that is what's happening. It says bounce house and inflatable slide. Let me go back. Did I misread the?
So they're having, I've been steeped in this application, so their cover letter explains the types of inflatable rides that they, inflatable games rides that they are including, which, there's a variety of them. And I have gone back and forth with the community center and their insurance carrier or insurance agent, I should say, and our insurance agent to be sure that this is treated the same as a carnival, because the village's insurance does not cover inflatable rides as it doesn't cover carnival rides or mechanical rides. So we are at the point where I believe we have everything we need. It just needs to go to our agent. I received all the last few documents last night from them. So it's being treated like a carnival town, same way.
So then, would the carnivals have applications? Do they say no to mechanical rides?
What do you?
In the application, right?
Oh,
it
did
asks
they
if they're a
click-
mechanical
did they
ride.
check
So
off?
yeah.
I believe the community center was under the impression that inflatables were not considered mechanical rides, and that a bounce house was not considered part of their application, a bounce house. Even though their games are but we sorted this
we
through,
are
so I
picking at
didn't.
words on this. I don't know.
Yes, but it is, what I'm telling you is that it's definitely treated as mechanical rides in games with guidance from our insurance policy.
So I'm looking at 2-lane axe throwing,
I have all the links for it. but
giant
the-
Connect 4, 35 by 35 corn maze, 3-lane obstacle course, inflatable bull, and wrecking ball game. The real question is, our insurance carrier is aware of this. They've seen the application. They've seen the.
Our insurance
Cover
agent,
letter.
our insurance agent, I had a phone conversation with her, and she saw the initial application. But I also went so far as to send her the links to each of those pieces of apparatus. You just go to Horizon's website, you can find each of the links so that she's aware of what types of activities they are. Because the community center initially was stating that, their insurance covers those types of activities, and I knew that ours did not, because our insurance doesn't allow for even a inflatable water slide for our recreation program.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
what does one call an inflatable bull?
And it's
Right,
an inflatable,
yeah.
right? It's
It
considered
is.
mechanical
it is.
inflatable.
But so what's happening now, though, where this application stands, is that I've collected all of the insurance documents that would be the same if we were having Carnival, with all the Carnival rides, same, you know. And they have provided me with a event policy, a special event policy that actually includes inflatables and specifically states that. I just received everything yesterday, so I haven't sent it over to Jeanette, who is our insurance agent, who then will refer it over to NYMER, and they'll come back to us and tell us if there's anything else that's needed. The reason the agenda's so large is because I just wanted to show the board the depth of how this goes. And you can see there, one policy excludes it, the other policy includes it, and then we do the same for Lake Winslow, as far as, you know, horses are concerned, things like that. So that's why the motion is pending, because we needed to have the approval from NYMER. Okay, but from year after year, with specific limits and things like that, I know that over the years, our insurance carrier has requested higher limits. We've had those conversations with Steve. Horizon has the policy for $5 million, like has been required in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, so here are all the links to everything if you are interested.
No, I believe you. HorizonGiggles.com. Is that what that says? Okay. So it's pending acceptance from insurance.
That's correct.
Got it. I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else? So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Tom?
Motion to refer the application for a special use permit for 43 Wheeler Avenue to the Village of Warwick Architectural Historic Review Board for review and comment.
Do you want to add "and 8 Forester" to that?
Should be
I
a
think it should be a
separate
separate
Separate, okay,
motion.
very good.
Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And do you want to?
Yep,
do that?
motion to refer the application for a special use permit for 8 Forester Avenue to the Village of Warwick Architectural Historic Review Board for review and comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. And then we have some addendums.
Is that for me?
That is for you.
Okay, motion to reimburse Kamath Vasudeva of 73 Loudoun Way for water sewer penalties on account number 805800-0 in the amount of $26.69 for the June 15, 2023 billing cycle after a mailing error was discovered affecting certain streets within the Village of Warwick. 73 Loudoun Way was sold on August 23rd, 2023. Therefore, a credit is unable to be applied to this account.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to extend the appointment approved on June 20, 2023 of Matthew Hahn to the position of seasonal Department of Public Works laborer for an additional 12 weeks, 40 hours per week at a salary of $16.50 per hour per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Michael Moser.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You might as well take the last one then. No? Your favorite.
Oh, there is one?
Do you want me to take it? I haven't had any.
I would love for you to take this.
Yeah, you're the liaison to the treasurer.
That's true, yes, that's right.
I'm done with it. I'm done.
Motion to
Poor
approve the proposed settlement of the copyright claim of Michael Briner for $4,500 and to authorize the mayor to execute the settlement agreement.
Do you have a second?
Do we have to second so we can discussion?
I guess, second.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I have a huge problem with this. I don't
Yeah,
know how
I
to
know.
handle this
Yeah.
in terms of a vote. I don't think we should have settled. I think this claim is,
Bogus.
yes. I wish Steve was here. Because
We can table this
until the next
till the
meeting.
next
Yeah.
meeting, and Steve, and we'll get Steve's.
Yeah,
Input.
I don't want to vote for this,
Okay.
to be honest with you.
So can I have a motion to table?
I'll motion to table the proposed settlement of the copyright claim of Michael Briner for $4,500 and to authorize
Yeah, that's it.
table it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay. So Carly requested that we have a kind of encapsulation of the Jewel presentation. So, and/or discussion about that, so.
Yeah, what I was thinking was, what I was hoping to discuss was whether or not there was any discussion needed before we could move toward a resolution that authorizes the board to choose the power provider, the default power provider. Because the first step, as I understand it, is that we would have a resolution to authorize the board to select a default power source provider. And then everything else could come from there. And so I was wondering whether we need to have more discussion before we can do that.
Yeah, so passing the resolution is really just to jumpstart the process.
Okay.
And that is expected by New York State, who has basically put together this community choice aggregation as an option.
Right.
And also, you know, the provider, such as Jewel Community Power, will be putting resources towards this. So the resolution, is my understanding, signals intent, but it does not bind us whatsoever
To any
making that
provider.
to making that
Right.
decision.
Does it bind us to Jewel?
I
No.
think it does.
No, I think the resolution, my recollection of the resolution is that it's an authorizing resolution, and what it does is it has the village then take upon us the ability to choose a default power provider.
Without specifying who we're choosing.
That's right.
Correct.
That was my
Yeah,
recollection.
that was my takeaway too.
You have to go out to bid like we do for our primary power provider?
That was my understanding of the process, so maybe that's something for us to,
Yeah.
that's what I thought we did. We
I
would
don't
go.
know if that's the case. Let me bring this up. Hang on one second, please.
And so I would think we would have to go out to bid because even though to select between Jewel or Good Energy or any of those entities, because
How-
they're ultimately going to be generating income.
Right.
I mean, we're not paying them directly,
Right.
but
So then how do you go out to bid if they're not exactly directly charging us for their services?
we would go out to bid for a community choice aggregate provider.
But then how do you judge who's?
They provide us with their quals, and then they
Okay.
also identify what additional consulting services we would be
Okay.
able to receive. This is me.
You are
No,
right.
it's,
Okay.
your
No, you're right, I
understanding
looked
is
it up.
right.
Oh, okay,
close to
okay.
my understanding. So you just
So it
validated my
It sounded
understanding.
good.
Jewel
This
gave
is how I
us,
would think the process should unfold, you know?
Yeah.
Jewel gave me, this is a 2021 December template of a CCA local law. Mr. Weinberg, when he was here, mentioned that there is an updated one, so I'll get that. But I just looked through that example, and it refers to a CCA administrator. It does not.
is the village.
It does not mention. No, it would be Jewel, but it does not
Oh,
mention
okay.
Jewel specifically.
I see.
The village can opt to be the administrator. I think that's
Excuse me.
a very not good idea.
We don't know what we're doing.
No.
What we're doing that's long and painful, and but right, they're not listed in there, but they were kind enough to share an example. So I'll get a template. But I agree, again, it doesn't commit us to anything.
Okay.
It's more signaling intent that this is something that we're.
Can you send that
Of course.
template to all of us, obviously, but also to?
Yes,
to-
let me get an
to-
updated one.
Yeah, to Steve.
That
course.
sounds like, so I found the presentation very, very informative. The thing that kind of surprised me is that it's a long process. I'm really impressed that the majority of that process is on public outreach and communication, which is great. But because I see now that it is a long process, I am hoping we can kind of get things moving pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's, so, and part of the reason I want to pass the resolution, get it started as well, is because we have other energy, I think, goals that need to be
Yeah.
accomplished. And CCA, I think, will be a very big support in, you know, sort of getting us going, and I think it'll be a large benefit to village, you know, residents.
All right.
There's a really comprehensive website that NYSERDA has on it. If, Tom, when you wanted to send out your email, it could make sense to include a link to that.
Okay, sure.
And I will reach out to the other two mayors about where they are with this, and just in terms of if they're looking at it, if they're moving forward with it. I know Greenwood Lake at one point, under the previous mayor, was very focused on this, but I don't know how far they've gotten. I think maybe they had made a motion such as this, a resolution, but I don't know if it went any further than that. So, but I have a pretty strong communication with the Village of Florida and the Village of Greenwood Lake, and I think even if they could bring Jewel in to do a presentation to them, that would be really wonderful too.
That's a good idea.
But you're not implying that we need to wait for that?
No, I'm
It's
not
just-
implying that at all.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, part of the reason it takes a long time is because, because A, they do the stakeholder engagement piece, but B, they're assembling a cohort.
Yeah.
And that can take time because they want to assemble a cohort that's large enough to allow us that collective bargaining
Yeah.
power. But my understanding is that it could potentially change. I wonder, maybe Tom, something for us to look at is, I was imagining that if each of the contracts with a source provider is 2 years long, if, the town and the villages don't decide to do it for like another year or two, our bargain group could potentially be rejiggered in 2 years, and then we have another contract, so
I see what you mean.
that's something that I'm wondering whether we're locked into our cohort forever, or that contract gets rejiggered. And I imagine that it gets, because when the contract gets re-upped, your cohort could get changed.
As I understand it, the administrator will only execute the agreement if they've got a price that they like
Yeah.
from the energy providers.
Mm-hmm.
And so we might go through this process and come out with
Have
they
to
say
wait.
we're not doing it
Okay.
because they could. That's a possibility.
Yeah, it's like it's like mortgage, watching your mortgage rates, right? Like, it's like, we see them going up, let's lock in now, versus we see them going down, let's lock in later. So,
Absolutely.
That's
so
what-
they're probably trying to time it, and that probably also has something to do with they're going to do public outreach as required by NYSERDA, but in the process, they're observing the rates.
And that's I think a critical part of what they do,
Right.
in
That's
terms
part of the value they bring.
Yeah.
Because obviously, we want to be locked in at the lowest rate.
Of course, yeah. Okay,
so I found the authorizing legislation. I'm assuming that the next step is for Steve to review it.
Yes.
Right?
that's
Yes.
right.
So I'll send it to you, Tom, and then we can hopefully, I'm hoping that we can move forward with it fairly
Yeah.
quickly. Because this is authorizing legislation that's been developed by the state.
Right. Like battery storage.
Oh,
Not going
which
there.
is why we want Steve to look at it.
Tom, I'm gonna let you do your, if you have a report, because you have to leave.
Thank you. Yes, two things. So the Albert Wisner Libraries Children Book Festival is on Saturday, October 7th, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Stanley Deming Park. There will be at 12 o'clock, there will be the Uncle Brothers Band to perform a free, lively concert for children. Concert is outdoors, bring a blanket or a lawn chair to sit on, and picnicking in the park is welcome. And there are several restaurants and cafes very nearby for family-friendly dining. Yeah, so that is the 7th, the same day as the homecoming parade. So just so that people are aware, lots going on that day.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have to report is last night we had the Climate Smart task force. Pardon me. We had 13 people
Wow.
Great, very good.
from the public
Great.
show up.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it was great because everyone brought a different background, a different perspective. Everyone there had something that they cared deeply about, and it was very interesting to see how those conversations were interwoven. My takeaway is that we do have a community of people who do care very much about the village setting the tone for being environmentally responsible. We had a session where we talked about some big ideas. That was fun. So we collaborated on a few ideas, some things I will bring before the board at some point. And yeah, we do have local partners that were represented there as well, such as Wickham Works, Sustainable Warwick, Hello Warwick Valley, the Greenbelt Preservation Society. We had one gentleman who locally is growing 40 varietals of rice
Oh, wow.
in Warwick.
That's great.
He brought some for us to see. So really, really interesting. I like the format of opening it up, so it wasn't just the established task force. But that was a really good session. So anyway, that's my report.
Good,
I
very
think
good. Thank you.
Tom, just to speak to the way Tom managed the session last night, when he saw members of the public coming in, he invited them to sit around the table, and I thought that was it really made for a lovely meeting. I think people, felt like they were a part of it and they were able to contribute, and everybody
And they
was.
did. They all did.
Yeah, they didn't have to just sit in the audience. They were an active part of the conversation, and then, certain folks stepped forward with willing to kind of work on carrying some of the initiatives forward, and so that's what you hope for, and that was great. So great job, Tom.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
Good job.
It
Thank you.
sounds fantastic, actually, really good. So, and if you have to leave, which you do.
In a
right?
few.
Okay. So, Carly, do you have any
No reports.
no report? And Mary?
Nope, no reports.
Okay. I just have a few things to report. Last night I could not be at your meeting because I was invited by Sun River Health, Kathy Brager, who oversees the Alamo and the activities for the summer program for our migrant youth, to a dinner of young outstanding Latinas. And there were 10 young ladies between the ages of 13 and 17 who made dinner and had a lot of questions for the mayor. And it was really wonderful. It was a great, great evening. I learned a lot, and I also volunteered Carly, you, and Mary to talk about you as professional people as well as trustees. So I thought that would be interesting. So hopefully Kathy will take it.
Wonderful.
Take it up.
Thank you.
We had a wonderful 9/11 ceremony. Luckily, we had the 3 bays of Engine 1 so that we could continue with that ceremony. And there was also a retirement dinner for Michael Sweeten this last weekend. And that was a large crowd and wonderful wonderful comments about Michael and his commitment and, you know, just the things that he has done for us as a community. And that it was really well done. I just want to also mention that Congressman Ryan brought his mobile van or mobile office in form of a van, but set up here. And it was just for about an hour and a half, but a number of constituents came and were able to sort some things out, some veterans benefits and some actually school payment school payment issues. So it was very good. And that is all I really have. So we do have another comment from the floor, and
If it's not too late.
no, not at all.
Right on time.
Sorry, but I just wanted to clarify something, because I just had a quick word with my lawyer. You had mentioned that the ARB need to review it because it's a commercial property.
Yes.
What makes it a commercial property?
It's 3 rental units.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I think that it's because it's a special use permit, which is why it needs to.
Okay.
No, the special use permit is why it has to go before this
That's,
board.
that's the reason, yeah. Or no, it has to be referred to the Architectural Review Board.
If it's a commercial
Special-
property.
No, if it's a special use
Especially
permit.
I said that it was also a commercial property. I believe it is. I mean, you will be whomever will be renting
Yes.
these 3 apartments and will be, it's a commercial activity, in essence.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify because it's rental, it's commercial.
It's,
Because I own rentals all over Warwick.
Yeah, so-
Not
so-
commercial buildings.
so Patrick, for reference, in the zoning code,
Yeah.
it's section 145-161. Starts on page 224, it's the application procedure. And that's what the village attorney referenced was, and it doesn't say, it doesn't say because of commercial, it just says if there's a special use permit, then here's what has to happen. And that's that's the way that the code is written.
Okay,
So that's why the village attorney referred to this specific section, because it outlines the procedure.
okay, so even if it wasn't commercial, we still need a,
That's
Special use
correct,
permit.
that's
No problem.
correct. But,
If that's what it is,
but you said you have rentals throughout the village, and that's fine.
Yes.
If it's a complete building, and then you wanted to repaint it, then
Yes.
you would have to refer that to the ARB.
yes, which I've done.
That's it.
in
And that's
the
it.
past.
Okay?
Okay,
Anything else?
no, I
No.
think that's it. No
Okay.
problem. Just wanted
Okay.
to clarify
Thank
that.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take these entries back.
Thanks for bringing up the Jewel. I had actually forgotten that I had wanted to talk about it. and
Well, I'm glad we
requested to
did,
talk
because
about
that
it.
was really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would have walked out and been disappointed, you know.